Hi, my name is Andy Mallet, and this is Glimmer DSL for SWT tutorial number 17. So today we're going to take a break from the advanced tutorials and go into something a bit simpler, which is hello date time. So let's get started by launching it. So as you can see, we have a date of birth field, and it's represented by multiple different widgets. The first one is just a date widget that uses a spinner where I can, spin the day, spin the month, or spin the year. The next one is actually a date widget that gives me a drop down with a calendar. So then I can, browse the calendar in order to select a day, as well as the month and the year. And the third widget is basically a time widget. So it's also a sort of a spinner, and it gives me the options of being able to spin the AM, PM, the days, the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. And finally, the fourth widget is a calendar that is open in front of us without a drop down. So this is more of an embedded calendar, like a calendar that you could embed directly in the GUI and let people browse dates with it. And one thing you might have noticed already is that all of them are in sync. And that's being done through bidirectional data binding, meaning if I were to go here and change the date, it ends up updating it in all of them. Same with this one. If I were to go here and browse different months and then select a day, it updates the value in the other widgets. So how does that work? So we have a hello date time sample, and let's just suppose we have a person model underneath that same namespace that has a date of birth. And then before body, we set up a person model, and then we initialize its birth date to 2013 7/12 with a time as well. Then in the body of the sample, we can build the GUI, and as you can see, we have a label here that says date of birth, but then after that we have a date widget, a date drop down widget, a time widget, and a calendar widget. So you get quite the variety of widgets for dealing with date and time. However, the good news is that they're all data bindable to a date time object. So it's you can keep the model very simple. The model can just have a date time object, and then all of them can data bind to it, and they would data bind to it successfully. And obviously the date widget will edit the date portion of it, whereas the time widget will edit the time portion of the date time. To clarify, however, all of those widgets are actually one widget in SWT. It's called date time, the date time widget, which you can pass it SWT symbols to customize. So when using SWT outside of, say, Glimmer, you would use a date time and give it date if you just want date. You would give it a date and drop down SWT styles to make it a date drop down. You would give it a time to just make it a time widget, and you would give it a calendar to make it a calendar widget. However, Glimmer DSL for SWT gives you shortcuts that simplify the process of using a date time widget, so you don't have to worry about those low-level details. You can just use the higher-level abstractions on top of it, like date drop down, time, and calendar. As you can see, they're all using bidirectional data binding into the date of birth attribute on person, and that's what's giving us the ability to synchronize all of them all at once. What happens basically is if I edit the date through one of them, it'll end up persisting it to the model, but then the other widgets are also data bound to the same model attribute, so they will all get updated automatically so that you don't have to worry about it. So that's pretty much it. This is the hello date time sample. If you want to learn more about the Glimmer DSL for SWT project, check out the GitHub repository.